Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with a really fine new recording of the complete Bartók piano concertos. All of them. Wow, baby. With Tomáš Vrána and the Janáček Philharmonic Orchestra of Ostrava. Used to be called the Ostrava Janáček Philharmonic Orchestra, but it's called Janáček Philharmonic Ostrava this week. And the conductor is Gábor Káli, who sounds to me to be like Hungarian, like authentically Hungarian and Czech. And this is, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but it sounded sort of like an authentically Eastern European version of these works. You know, they can be played in a couple of ways. First of all, let me just say, I love these concertos, all three of them. And when it comes to criticizing performances of them, I tend to go fairly easy because I just think the music is so fascinating and there are so many ways to do it. And pianists who play it are all capable. And I just don't get all worked up about them the way I might say a Mozart piano concerto where, there are elements of, sort of taste and style that come into it in a way that's that are a lot more complicated. Let me put it to you this way. It's not that Bartók isn't complicated. He is. I mean, he's fabulously rich. I wouldn't call it complicated for its own sake, but he's rich in ideas and technique and all of those things. But the music itself just fascinates me, and I love to hear it, however it's done. I mean, the first concerto, they're very different pieces. The first concerto has its, very martellato percussive handling of the piano with solo percussion ensembles surrounding the piano. And oh my gosh, it's wonderful being a percussionist, of course. And it's not because I'm a percussionist, it's because it just has so many fabulous new sounds for a piano concerto. And also that sort of primitivist folk stuff that's in the outer movements particularly. I find it thrilling. The second concerto is a miracle of formal construction with the orchestra used in sections until the finale when it all comes together. And, it's just marvelous. And the spooky nocturnal central movement with the scherzo in the middle. It's absolutely amazing. It has the same form as Gershwin's Concerto in F, except Gershwin came first. Ha-ha! Anyway, and then there's, of course, the last concerto that Bartók wrote for his wife because he knew he was dying, and it just is suffused with a wonderful lyricism and gentleness and poetry, and it's just a little universe in a trilogy. Fantastic. And I find these performances to be really splendid because you can play them as sort of modern music. Fast, slick, exciting, bravura, virtuoso. Sort of like, was it Bronfman and Salonen kind of did it that way? And it's perfectly legitimate. Pollini and Abbado did 1 and 2 that way. It's fine. It's fine. Or you can do it in what I consider to be the more sort of earthy, folk-like manner, which I think on the whole I prefer because it seems to me to just dig into the music more. That was, of course, Geza Ando with Fricsay, whose performances tend to be slower than everybody else's, but really rhythmic. I mean, you really hear the rhythms and the harmonies, it brings out that wonderful aspect of the music. So, like I said, there's lots of ways to do it, but this is more that way. He's not as slow as Anden, for example, like the finale of the first concerto or whatnot, but the rhythm is there. The rhythm is there. The accent is there, and it's really just marvelous. The second concerto is a very good example. I mean, the tempi are not as fast as in some of the more razzle-dazzle contemporary performances out there, but you hear more as a result of that. You have a chance to savor the originality of Bartók's writing and the uniqueness of his harmony, and I just really enjoyed these performances. They sounded alive and well thought out, and Vrána is a terrific pianist. I mean, he has the music not just in his fingers, but but he's able to shape it and do things with it. In the third concerto, particularly, where Bartók lets you. I mean, sometimes you're just sort of, pounding away. But even there, there's that. You always have to keep in mind the underlying lyricism. You don't have to be a powerhouse. He has the power, no question about it. But it's more than that. And what a send-off he gets from none other than Jean-Ephraim Bavouzet, who himself recorded a very fine set of the 3 Bartók concertos for Chandos. Bavouzet writes, okay, apart from it being quite rare to see a pianist so dedicated to such difficult pieces, it is even less common to see a young musician mastering them with such musical intelligence and deep knowledge of the orchestra score, coupled with a great sense of rhythm and a masterful technique! Exclamation point. Well, obviously that's puffing, and artists have a sort of unbroken rule that they're not going to diss each other in public, which is such a pity. It would be so much more fun if they did, but oh well. Sometimes they do, and then it causes a stir. But and they obviously have a relationship, so that's good. But Bavouzet, I'm sure, is not going to place his own reputation at risk by recommending somebody who doesn't know what they're doing. So I just want to make that point. It's not like I'm surrendering my critical faculties by just saying, "Whoa, listen to Bavouzet." No, not at all. I agree with Bavouzet. I really do. And I suspect you will too. This is on Supraphon. It's rare to find recordings of all 3 of these works by a single pianist popping up. So this is a bit of an event. It really is. And it's a very happy one. I'm very curious to hear your views on these performances, because I just found them very expressive and welcoming. Very, very enjoyable experience. I've heard them about, 7 or 8 times now, especially going back and forth to work on the train through my headphones, and the CD sounds very good. Sonics are lovely. The orchestra's fine. They have no issues. They have a certain Slavic tang to the brass playing and whatnot, which is fun. A transparency to the strings, and that nocturnal slow movement of the second concerto. Really, really good work. I welcome this with open arms and hope that you do too. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.